want everybody from this moment on to recognize me as the scholar of boxing.
You see, their morals, their code, it's a bad joke. If dropped at the first sign of trouble, they're only as good as the world allows them to be. I'll show you. When the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other.
49 hours declaring it a riot.
5 to 50 feet advised, Capitol Police 1 advised decline of breaching into the Capitol.
Publicists, when you talk to your publicists, you know the first thing they tell you? What? Stay away from religion, stay away from politics. Okay. You know why? Why? No matter what the you say, somebody passionately disagrees with you.
Absolutely.
No matter what religion, you believe in Allah, niggas saying that's not the right way. You believe in every Christianity, that's not it, because they choosing something different. Your political party, the Democrat, Republican, the disagreement completely.
Yep.
So I stay away from it. When I get pulled into politics, I go,
yeah.
And I have nothing to say. I'm just
the same way we are. We don't no politics, none of this.
I'll with that. I don't stay there because I'm still entertainment. If it's not music, then it's film and television, but it's still entertainment. So why would you turn someone off by saying that?
Right.
I want everybody to enjoy what I'm doing.
Right.
Not just a selective few amount of people. I focus on diversity because it's needed.
Right.
The boxing scholar is a lover, not a fighter, but he's also a fighter, so don't get any ideas. If he pats you on the back, you'll put it in your resume. His enemy. Have him listed as an emergency contact. The scholar has an inside joke with complete strangers. If he punched you in the face, you'd have to fight the urge not to thank him. Sharks have a week dedicated to him. He's the only man alive to is parallel park. A train is count to infinity twice. In Genesis, when God said, "Let there be light," the scholars said, "Say pretty please." He is the genius of all genius and master of all masters.
And that's the trick to life. You have to be wise enough to know when you were living in your dream. And you have to be humble enough to accept when you were in someone else's.
Yo, the Boxing Scholar's on.
The genius! Done popped up on y'all with a gun. Oh, let me stop. I can't cuss there. I want to keep that monetization green. What's good, Rob G? The genius done popped up on y'all with a morning show. What's next? What's next? Over here at Boxing Scholar Promotions, we create champions, and we unpredictable. We just want to fight the best. We don't turn down anything, but I call it. So today's episode, we got a good one for you. Couple things to address. Hold on. First off, let me get my music playing. First things first. Can't do it without the theme music. There we go. Boom. So first things first. For those who have not been living up under a rock, Terrence Bud Crawford shocked the world. He shocked the world. He did the impossible. He accomplished a lot in the sport of boxing, right? Now he could be mentioned top 5, top 10 all time that ever put on boxing gloves, right? which you can't say that about any fighter that's active right now, including Canelo, which assuming that he will still be active, right? To the point where people compare him to Floyd Mayweather. And a lot of people think Floyd Mayweather is the greatest because they've never seen him lose, right? So with that being said, Terrence Bud Crawford, before the fight, he said he was the buckle. I ain't gonna lie, I thought it was a little corny trash talk, but he's not a trash talking person. So I gave him the benefit of the doubt on that, but he was the buckle. He hurt Canelo a lot. He was the buckle of the belt. And even buckled Canelo, being the buckle himself, he did everything he said he was going to do. So he deserves nothing but credit. Canelo didn't even say like he felt he won, which is when most fighters say in fights like that. He said he felt like he won the Bivol fight. And we seen Bivol just thoroughly beat Canelo around the ring. Canelo said it. And I feel like the Bivol fight might have been was wider in my opinion. And he said he felt like he won that one. This is the only loss where I seen Canelo just humbly take defeat, no excuses, no anything, and then he just went to go party, which might mean that the end is near. Canelo's made like close to $1 billion in the sport. Can y'all make $1 billion in anything? Like whatever your profession is, if it's throwing rocks at a telephone pole, you think you would have the same desire after making $1 billion throwing rocks at the telephone? The hunger's not there. What did Mike Tyson say when he left the sport? I don't have the stomach for this stuff anymore. I'm gonna just go into retirement. Canelo needs to go into retirement. He don't got the stomach for this anymore. Left a lot of offense on the table. He didn't try. The last rounds is where Terrence Bud Crawford on the scorecards took over the fight and won. And Canelo didn't try. Like he tried, then Bud tried, and he quit. It's just simple as that. You're supposed to take it to the next level. George Foreman, Ron Lyle, all those guys, if they would rise their intensity and you rise yours, they would try to find another level. That's what made them great. It's a lot of Mexican fighters that do not like Canelo, and they said it for this very reason. They don't feel like he could ever dig deep. And listen, I said this before the fight. Canelo and his team, if they come up with a great game plan and it's working, everything's good, right? As to 63 opponents? But if they're ever forced to make an adjustment, they can't do it. They can't do it. I haven't seen one fight where Canelo has made an adjustment and said, you know what? I need to go to the drawing board. I need to do this. I need to not one fight. What's up, Press? Press said, here we go. You right, Press. You right. What's up, Most Hated? He says, salute to Scarlett, everybody. Yeah, man. Press, I'm just not getting started, Press. Listen, by the time I leave here, man, I might not even have a channel. Nah, just play. But no, I'm just now starting cooking, Press, because you remember I've been calling. Let me not get ahead of myself. So anyway, a couple things I wanted to address, right? So there was Timothy Bradley did a video and he talked about the greatness of Terrence Bud Crawford, and then you see people in this comment section that was talking about Boots Ennis, and I'm like, bro, I cannot believe with all that Terrence Bud Crawford have accomplished, we're still talking about Boots Ennis. That is insane to me. Insane to me that Boots Ennis is even a factor at this point. That's crazy. I can't wrap my mind around that. That's a whole nother subject. Like I said, I'm gonna cook on that. But so to dispel some of the things that happened to the people that were looking to the fight, looking to the stuff building up to the fight. When Terrence Bud Crawford said anybody could be a nobody, that's a quotable. That's a quotable, and it's true on top of that, right? It's definitely a quotable, right? But check this out.
It means a lot to me because, anybody can be a nobody. Like I said, and that's.
I was boxing with this African guy, Friday. What's Friday's full name? Anybody know Friday's full name? Well, everyone, if I mention in the fight world, knows who he is, the African heavyweight fighter. And I passed.
Anybody can be a nobody. What's Friday's full name? Anybody know Friday's full name? Does anybody know Friday's full name? Terrence Bud Crawford, mentioning resumes before the fight, and I said resumes ain't gonna get in there and fight for you. I don't even know why they did the same thing during the Spence fight. It's just talking points for boxing fans to argue about before the fight actually happens. Oh, well, my guy's gonna win. Why? Because he beat Joe Smo. I thought styles make fights. Why are you bringing up the resume? All that matters is what they did on the night of the fight, and that's what happened. Terrence Bud Crawford came out and beat Canelo, and fans still ain't over it. They still crying about it. You don't believe me? Oh, here we go.
Canelo Alvarez got paid to lose that fight, man. How is it that ever since Turkey Al-Akish got involved in boxing, bro, all of a sudden we're getting all these upsets? First, it happened with Rolly Romero and Ryan Garcia, right? Now it happens with Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, bro. And for whatever reason, bro, for it being an upset, bro, Rolly Romero wasn't jumping in the air the way Andy Ruiz was when he upset Anthony Joshua, right? Terrence Crawford wasn't even excited when he won, and Canelo wasn't even bothered that he lost, man. In the Ryan and Rolly Garcia, bro, those two looked like they went through a ritual, bro, just to get that fight, bro, before and after the fight. And after the fight, Canelo just like, hey, listen, man, my legacy is cemented, bro. He's a great fighter, man. What can I tell you, man? My mind wanted to, my body didn't. All of a sudden, Canelo could only throw a leg hook to the hip that he never intended to land, a right to the body. Never seen Canelo throw it right to the body, bro. And this wild overhand punch that's easy to block. Canelo didn't do anything outside of that, bro. And just run around and allow Bud to work him on the inside and work around him, bro. Crazy, bro. You cannot make this shit up. There's no way, bro, that fight was a fix, bro. How cool about losing to the smaller guy Canelo was, bro? Right? Something that's very embarrassing in boxing. Leads me to believe, bro, that crazy bag that he got, bro. Some people are saying he got 300 million. Other people are saying it was 150 million, right? I really do believe that it was a little bonus in there for him to say, listen, bro, just let him work it, whatever. He ain't gonna do nothing to you, bro. And that's it. You already did everything you did, bro. It's not gonna make you less of a fighter or like your legacy worth less. I really do think that's what happened because Bud wasn't even excited at the end. Bud was just like, yeah, you know, I won. And it's like, come on, this shit doesn't happen in boxing, bro. So yeah, I really do think that Turkey's winning boxing.
So, with that being said, people would rather not accept the reality that Terrence Bud Crawford was doing something in there to negate what his opponent was trying to do. They would rather come up with conspiracy. This is the exact same thing that happened in the Jake Paul fight. Y'all bought up into the propaganda, the media, saying that Mike Tyson was going to knock him out. Y'all thought Mike Tyson was going to be the same fighter when he was 20 years old, and the man is close to 60. And instead of accepting reality, you go into conspiracies. Oh, well, Mike Tyson could have threw a punch right here that he didn't. That's what happens with old age. You can see the punch, but you can't make it. That's what old age is. You don't have to put an excuse there. Terrence Bud Crawford did a lot of things in the fight that you might have not noticed if you don't know what you're looking at when you're looking at the sport of boxing. And he did a lot of things to negate what Canelo was trying to do. Those shots to the hip is what Canelo did against Lara. Go back and watch the Lara fight. He does it in all of his fights. He beats your shoulders and your hips up, breaks you down, and then it works. But there's no plan B if it doesn't work. In the Bivol fight, Bivol had a bruise on his shoulder after the fight, right? Bivol started countering when he hit to the shoulder, just like Bud started countering when he hit him to the hip. He does not have a plan B. It's just simple as that. So with that being said, man, we gotta elevate our boxing IQs, man. Stuff like that be silly to me. I seen Terrence Bud Crawford stick the finger in the press conference, and everybody already knew. You know, if you know, you know. Everybody already knew who he was sticking the finger to. It was no doubt about it, right? Here we go.
And you became the second undisputed champion in 3 weight classes when there was only one champion back in 1938 with Henry Armstrong. That's a lot of stuff. You hear that? You hear that? Which do you think?
Kelly, right? Yeah. That's the first time I see Ellie since the fight. Yes. I haven't spoke to you either, right?
No.
You're live?
Yes, we're live. We're live.
I haven't spoke to Ellie either.
No, we haven't. Yes.
I know for a fact this was for you.
Yes, it was for me. Of course it was for me. Yeah. Shout out to Crawford and his team. All the love. Yeah, it was for me. He looked, listen, listen. He comes in the room and listen, he's scanning. He's scanning. He comes in the room and he's scanning. And then he saw me, he started smiling.
For doubting him? Have you apologized yet, Ellie?
I thought Canelo won. Beat that. Okay, let me tell
you. Now, we all knew it was Ellie's setback that was geared toward, but there goes the proof right there. If you were wondering, in case you didn't know. So to Richard, I just want to say, find the nearest ball sack and put your tongue up on it and have a blast out of life. I know more about boxing than you. You can never compare. As far as boxing knowledge, you should stay in the chat where it's safe. You would never ever join the panel to say anything. You're a Canelo fanboy. You mad because Canelo got beat. He didn't try. He quit. He gave up, and he's always talking about Mexican pride. Like, he talked about Mexican pride. He don't make no adjustments in the fight, which is why great legends do not like him. The Chavezes, the Marquezes, they do not like Canelo for that very reason. They feel like he's overrated. Yeah, Canelo got good attributes. Yeah, he does good combinations, but he's never been in a fight where he's been down and came out and bit down like Chavez did against Taylor and won the fight. He don't got it in him. It's as simple as that. Matter of fact, he was a graceful a game loser. When he lost the fight, he looked happy. He didn't look sad at all. He looked like, oh well, I made it, all his money. Is essentially starting to sell his record. And when you get to that point, it's over. Amir Khan knew he was well past his prime. He fought Bud Crawford, quit, then fought another person, then fought Kell Brook and quit in that fight. But he knew Bud Crawford and Kell Brook would bring 2 paydays towards the end of his career. When people get to a point where they start to sell themselves or sell their record, it's over. They're in it strictly for the money. And money's supposed to be a factor, but if it's the end all be all, it's time to go ahead and hang it up as far as your boxing career is concerned. So yeah, I wanted to add that perspective to Canelo. It's over, man. Fans are making excuses. That wasn't even the only excuse. That's the only one I just wanted to put because they were all so stupid that I was like, let me find the most stupid one and address this, and then it'll just trickle down to all the other stupid comments. Terrence Bud Crawford is that guy. You know, he beat Canelo. Shouldn't have done it with all that he was up against, the gloves, the weight, the shoulder surgery, the everything, the inactivity. Canelo's still active, all of that stuff, you know. And you know what's really crazy is when I was looking at the Skull fight, I seen opportunities where Skull could have let his hands go when he was on the ropes, and he decided not to because he was Canelo. And I knew Bud wouldn't do that because Bud got something different inside of his brain. But I still thought the weight would be too much. I didn't think he could be able to maintain that, you know. And not only did he maintain it, Canelo looked more fatigued at the end of the fight than him. That's the difference right there. That's the difference between if Canelo had Terrence Bud Crawford mentality, that man might be undefeated as far as his record is concerned. He wouldn't have gave up in a Mayweather fight where he was a naturally bigger guy, and he wouldn't have gave up in all his fight. He quit. He's a quitter. He's a game quitter. You know, in fights that he can't take over, man quits. But yeah. So with all that being said, Terrence Bud Crawford beat 2 people that day. See, stay with me. He beat 2 people that day. Well, he beat a lot of people. He beat the machine. You know, he beat the narratives. He beat the history books. He beat Canelo. But the most significant win is the one that y'all might have not even seen. You want to know who it is? Boots. So, like I said, Timothy Bradley did a video, right? And in the video, Timothy Bradley was basically showing talking about Terrence Bud Crawford's place in history. You know, he was just giving a rundown or whatever the case may be, right? And the people in the comment section, I basically put a comment, and it's so funny to me because everybody talks so much stuff about Timothy Bradley, but the moment he responds to a comment, they run to that comment so he can respond to them. Like pigeons when you throw bread on the ground. Like, y'all talk all this stuff about Timothy Bradley, do all this trolling when really y'all just want attention from him. That's crazy, bro. We live in a crazy society. But yeah, I was talking about Boots and how I did a breakdown on him. And I sent the video, but the audio is a little bit off. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do a 2.0 video of this. But one of the guys was like, bro, he did not avoid Bud. And I was like, okay. Why didn't he avoid Bud? He didn't avoid Bud because he positioned himself in the sanctioning bodies to fight Bud. No, he didn't. You don't know enough about history to be talking in certainty. Say I think, or say I believe, say I feel. Usyk, I very feel. Say I very feel or something like that, because when you speak in certainty, you make yourself sound stupid to somebody like me. It's a conversation ender. Because I'm like, this guy has no clue what the hell he's talking about. So I don't even want to entertain you anymore. So with that being said, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go down the history line, right? So well, not the timeline. We're not gonna go in order of everything. But I'm gonna present you with some facts, and you could do with it what you want to. So here we go. Like I said, Boots went to go help Canelo get ready for Terrence Bud Crawford. And that was a good style to help him get ready because he's an efficient switch hitter. So, you know, getting used to a style, and then he's really fast and stuff like that. That was our ideal sparring partner that you could have. But one has to ask the question, why did Boots want to even go to help Canelo get ready. It was like kind of odd, you know? Everybody was like, what? But I know, because Boots went to Turkey and asked Turkey Al-Sheikh for a tune-up, and he said, this is not charity at 54, right? When Terrence Bud Crawford was at 54, he tried to fight Tim Tszyu, and Tim Tszyu didn't want to fight him. He went to go fight Fundora, right? And then after that, he went to go fight for the vacant title, and he ended up fighting Masvidal, right? But that was a title fight. And then he didn't look so impressive. But then after that, of course, he redeemed himself by getting all the belts at 68. But I say all that to say, when Boots went up to 54, he wants a tune-up. Bud went up there looking for the smoke and looking for the best guys, and the best guys didn't want to fight him. So he ended up fighting Masvidal for a vacant title. You know what I mean? That dude don't turn down no smoke. You know, if he go to a division, he's stomping hard. You know, he not lightly, treading. And I feel like, that's what Boots does, because Boots doesn't believe he's really that guy, you know. So like I said, to give you the genesis of it, the reason why he went over there to spar to help Canelo is because Bud still has a belt at 54. And if Bud would have got stretched by Canelo, beat by Canelo, whatever the case may be, he know that Bud is towards the end, and he probably would retire instead of electing to going back to a rematch, and then he could go fight for his vacant title at 54. So that was all about Boots playing chess, right? So Boots has been playing chess for a long time, and people have forgot about it. I don't know if it's COVID, short-term memory, not having a great memory, whatever the case may be. But they definitely have short-term memory loss, because I remember all of this. So let me go. So the first thing that I do remember is Terrence Bud Crawford checking Boots on the Gillian Wallow show. Here we go.
Go to sleep.
Go ahead.
You dreaming, man. You talking in your dreams,
Don't
man.
fight. Yo, we asked for that fight plenty of times, yo. Plenty of times.
When?
Plenty of times.
What's plenty? When?
Man, you already
You
know.
fronting.
You know what's
You
up.
fronting now. Don't front for Gilly now.
No fronting. No
All
fronting.
right.
Keep it a being though. We
All
know we asked for that fight plenty of times.
When? That's what I'm saying. When? You keep saying keep it a buck. I'm saying when.
Plenty of
Now
times.
you saying one thing and your dad saying another. So when?
What you mean?
You saying one thing and your dad saying another thing. So what is what?
We asked for that fight. I've been asking for that fight since 2018. What are you talking about? Since I was a baby.
You been asking to fight me since 2018.
All the top guys, man.
Cut it. You believe that? You a fool. You believe that? You a fool. He's drunk. He's sleepy.
So 2018, he been trying to fight Terrence. What's up, I Know Boxing? So since 2018, he been trying to fight Terrence Bud Crawford. That is absolutely insane. It was laughable when he said it. It's more laughable now, especially seeing how things played out. But that's definitely not true. Not only did people not even know who in 2017 know who Boots was, but he wasn't coming in looking for no Terrence Bud Crawford smoke. That is hilarious to me. Oh my God, that's so hilarious, right? But like I said, that's just the start of it. So I remember this specifically, right? So here we go. I remember this specifically. Y'all check this out. Hold on. See, one thing in that interview he said is you and your father keep saying two different things, because Bozy would do an interview, because they only do it with YSM. Shout out to YSM Sports, right? They only do in-house fights, in-house media. They keep everything Philly. It's West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground. That's in their mindset. You know what I mean? Philly protect Philly. Philly over everybody, you know. So they do a lot of Philly interviews, right? So but they do too much. And for a person like me, you can't do that. I got a great memory. So this is what I remember specifically.
BF World Champion Jerron Ennis. What's good, Boots?
What's going on?
I'm chilling, man.
Yeah.
You might be the most talked about man in not even boxing, but sports right now this last week.
Yeah, it's been crazy, you know, but
So for context, this is after he became the IBF champion. After he positioned himself and petitioned for the title.
and it is what it is.
All right, so news broke. It was like Friday that the IBF stripped Terrence Crawford and upgraded you to full champion due to him not negotiating with you because you were the mandatory.
Right.
He did a recent interview in which he referenced the situation, He said he knew that you didn't want to win the belt that way, but that you should have fought for the vacant title. And why do guys want to be email champions? I'm paraphrasing, but that was kind of the gist of it.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on being called the email champion?
I mean,
He didn't mind it because he emailed to get the belt, but we're gonna get to that later. Give me a sec.
at the end of the day, like I said before, it was out of my hands. There's nothing I can really do. I couldn't say yes or no. They just bumped me up. They elevated me up. That's like.
So notice that he making it seem like it was just the IBF. He don't know what happened. You know what I mean? Hey, I was at a family barbecue. He don't know what happened. They just elevated this man. I don't know why they did it. I don't know any of this stuff. Keep that in mind. We'll get back to that.
And that's not the way I wanted to win the belt. I wanted to take it from, and I've been calling for I've been mandatory for 2 years. Like it was, I'll be up to their job. It's nothing that I could do. It was out of my hands. And
I don't know about y'all, but I never trust a person with shifty eyes. Every time he talk, his eyes go to the side. That right there let me know, man. For the man telling a lie or he don't believe it.
Everybody know that I've been wanting to fight, for the world title, even all the belts, and I've been wanting Bud, I've been wanting Spence, I wanted all the top guys. All I want to fight is the top guys. Nobody is trying to step in the ring with me. It's not my fault. I'm trying. Like, I don't know what else to do. Like,
So how you know that age like milk is he didn't even fight B. Norman Jr. and B. Norman Jr. wasn't even a picture at this time. B. Norman Jr. was still, putting his bones in. And not only would he not did he not go on to fight Terrence Bud Crawford or Spence, but he ended up fighting nobody at 47. After they clowned on David Avenesian, Bud fighting David Avenesian, they end up fighting David Avenesian. It's just crazy how this aged, but let's get some further into this.
Now, according to Terrence Crawford, in multiple interviews, he said that, he didn't want to face you because you were in a lose-lose situation, that he wouldn't get full credit for beating you, that fans will make excuses calling you green. But in the letter to the IBF, the reason why he said he couldn't face you was because that he had his rematch clause with Errol Spence Jr.
See, that's what I be trying to tell y'all right here. In the letter to the IBF, he said, I can't fight Boots because I have a fight line. I'm mandatory. Remember, Spence and him was supposed to rematch for a year. They set on that contract, Spence and them, holding up Bud's career, knowing damn well they wasn't going to fight again. Just did it out of spite. There's no reason why they should have just let him go fight. Get some money out of it. Make them pay you to go get free of the contract or whatever the case. They in spite held that man's career up. But they knew it. Boots and his team knew it.
Right. Are you willing to face Terrence Crawford after he rematches Errol Spence?
Is he willing to fight me after he faced Errol Spence? That's the fight that I want. I want that fight. I wanted Spence, but I don't know what Spence doing if he's staying at 47 or 54. But those are two main guys I want, Bud and Spence. Everybody knew that, and I'm gonna keep saying it, until I get my opportunity. This is my time. My time is now, and I feel like I'm the best fighter in the world, and I want to show my skills and be able to prove it, and shut these guys up.
What do you feel like you have to do to get these fights?
I feel like I just gotta keep winning. Keep making noise. Like I said, keep stepping on these guys. They gotta see me though. I got a belt now. Come get your belt back if you think. You know what I'm saying, if you think you're the best in the world,
So come get your belts back, nanny boo boo, all this stuff that he talking, right? When everybody knew that Terrence Bud Crawford was gonna leave the division, like it was kind of like they talked to Spence and Bud both have talked about how the division was too much and they had outgrown the division. So that kind of tough talk was kind of like easy to say. But a couple things I want to point out, because in the same interview, that's why I say they do too much interviews. They contradict themselves. Check this out.
Now, he also referenced that you had two opportunities to fight him, right? And
You heard that? He had two opportunities to fight him.
I don't know exactly what he means, but he was talking about the WBO route when you went to go face David Avenesian. What happened?
Boom. The WBO route, where they were in line and could have did all the paperwork to force themselves to be a mandatory before Spence fight even happened. right? But they did not do it. They elected to drop out of that ranking and go to the IBF strategically, right? To force that mandatory. And there's a reason for that. We'll get to that later.
With that situation.
Well, I didn't with that WBO route stuff. I didn't get out the WBO until after he made his decision to fight David Evanesian. You know, people don't know the background, the timeline between it. I didn't fight for the IBF interim until he made his decision to fight David Evanesian. Everybody in the welterweight division was waiting for Spence and.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Very important. We cannot skip past that. Everybody in the welterweight division was waiting for Errol Spence to fight Bud. Why are you waiting for him to fight? Why? If you want to fight both of them, just go beat both their asses. Listen, before they even fight each other, if Boots had positioned himself and made himself a mandatory for Bud and told Bud, you're gonna have to fight me. I ain't waiting for no Spence fight. Bud would have had to either fight him or give up the belts. Then he could have petitioned with Errol Spence. He could have became undisputed if they really was ducking him just by them coming off the belts for not wanting to fight him. Why are you sitting around waiting for those two to fight each other? Come on, bro. This shit, this is checkers. This is chess, not checkers, bro. I know what you're doing. I don't know about everybody else. I know what you're doing.
I was waiting for Spence and Bud to fight. And, Spence Bud came out of nowhere and just fought David Evanesian, and he was like right under me. You could have fought me. You could have easily picked me.
Okay, so some things to unpack there. The David Evanesian fight, right, happened, and David Evanesian was ranked in the top 10. And they clowned the whole Philly gym, clowning on Bud fighting David Evanesian. They made it seem like he was ducking Boots to go fight David Evanesian, which that's not true, because Boots even alluded to the fact that there were talks of them fighting before the David Evanesian fight. BLK Prime contacted Boots. Gotta pay attention. The devil's in the detail.
Fans are under the impression that BLK Prime reached out to you before the David Evanesian fight. What's the truth of that situation?
Yeah, that's cat. They reached out to me after I fought Karen in January, and Bud had already fought in December. So they reached out to me after, with Karen, and they was trying to get me, trying to sign me, things like that. And they asked me would I fight him, and we said yeah. And after that, we never heard nothing back. It was no contract sent. It was basically word of mouth. Never got no contract, no nothing. These guys gotta stop capping. It looked bad. It's making.
So Bud's the one capping now. They sent him an offer. He said yes, and they never heard nothing back from him. So it was just word of mouth. Come on, bro. What Boosie say? Come on, man.
It's making boxing look bad, honestly. And I'm just sick and tired of the capping, the talking, all that.
Do you want that fight, Boots?
I want that fight.
Would you wait for Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford to happen, and would you take the winner?
It's up to them. Whatever they do, if they decide to fight each other, and I gotta wait, I'll wait. But if he don't fight Spence, I'll take that right now in a heartbeat.
He didn't end up fighting Spence, so why are you waiting for? And this is what I'm saying, right? You worked your way to get up through the rankings to wait for the two top guys to fight each other. Why not just go beat up the two top guys, especially if they don't want to fight each other? It makes no sense. And then he asked them, well, would you fight? Well, I'm gonna wait to see what they do. If they don't want to fight each other, then hey, I'm open to fight. It's like, bro, come on, bro. You can say this to somebody that don't know the sport of boxing, that don't understand, the politics of boxing. You can't speak this to me. Especially I've been following your career, and I could access these interviews because I remember them in real time. I watch a lot of this boxing stuff. See, people only watch the fights. They don't watch the training. They don't watch the interviews. They don't watch any of that. You know who does? The scholar of boxing. You know why? Because I want reference points. I want to remember what they said. I want all that stuff. So I'm able to go back in the archives, like right here. I didn't even have these videos saved. It took me less than 10 minutes, 15 minutes before I started this episode to go back and reference these videos because I remember them in real time happening. No Nelson Mandela effect.
Would you be willing to jump up to 154 pounds if they fight at 154 to face time?
And this is what I remember specifically. Shout out to B. Norman Sr. I had B. Norman Sr. on the show, and I told him Boots would not last at 47, that he's a big dude. And he was like, nah, man, I think bro, I knew it. I had watched a bunch of interviews where weight was an issue for Boots. And one telltale sign to everybody listening that a person cannot make the weight anymore, they bring in a nutritionist. The only time they bring in a nutritionist It's just like having a fat camp, a fat camp before a fight. Is because they can't make the weight. A nutritionist is supposed to help them make the weight comfortably and not kill themselves, dehydrate themselves, or butcher themselves into the weight. So that is a telltale sign. When a person ain't got a nutritionist at a weight division and all of a sudden they come to Jesus on the nutritionist, that is a great sign that they cannot make the weight anymore. But yeah, man, Boots didn't want to fight nobody.
Would I? if everybody already know I'm a big welterweight. So.
Up to 154 pounds if they fight at 154 to face Terrence Crawford.
Would I? if everybody already know I'm a big welterweight, so 154 that's lovely for me.
So, like he said, he's a big welterweight, and that would I? He never said, yeah, I take that fight in a heartbeat. He answered the question with a question. Would I? Yeah, that's why he asked you. Would you? But Boots didn't want that fight, bro. He didn't want that fight. Boots Ennis, like I said, this is why Bud say you and your father keep saying two different things. Boots Ennis talked about Boots, and the negotiations with Boots and Terrence Bud Crawford. So here we go. Here go Bootsy.
Offer and an offer from BLK Prime. Right. And then they just ran with a whole narrative that you turned down a fight with Terrence Crawford.
You know that wasn't true.
Yeah. Can you elaborate on it, because we never had a chance to talk?
Let me tell you about it. I had a phone call from my man, Blue Blood. He called me up and he says, Bo, I said, what's up, Blue? I can get that fight for you, man. We can get that fight for you with Terrence. I said, man, listen closely. Make that fight. We want that fight. You know what I mean? I said, we wanted him or either Spence. It didn't make no difference. As long as we get the fight, we'll see where we coming from, right? He said, yeah, I can make that fight, man. But would you talk to Zab and the head of Blue Up, BLK? What's his name?
Desmond.
Yeah. You know what I mean? I said, yeah, I'll talk to him. So they got on the phone. All three of them matter of fact, was on the phone. We talking. And I was taken from them that they really was trying to get us to come over their side. And I explained to him, and so the guy Desmond, he was saying, we can make the fight happen and we can do this. I said, well, listen, y'all make the fight happen. That's the fight that we want. Make it happen. You know what I mean? And we can get it on. So he says, what about you coming up? I said, no. I'm with Showtime. You know what I mean? I said, now, you want to make the fight?
Now, this is something different than what Boots just told us. Boots told us that BLK Prime reached out, said, do you want to fight? And it was word of mouth, and you never heard anything else. Remember, he just said that. He just said that, right? Now, Bozy is telling us something different. Bozy's saying they was trying to steal us away from who we was loyal to. Like, bro, come on, man. Boozy said, come on, man.
You call Steven Espinoza and talk to him, discuss that. Because that's who we with, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when I said that, I said, plus I'm loyal to these guys. I don't just leave and go to another, promotional company or whatever you are. And he says, because it'd be nice if you come over. I said, okay, I know that, but I don't do stuff like that. And but I know what they're implying about. They wanted me to come over to their side. So I told him, just call Steven up. When you talk to Steven, call him up and we can get that stuff together like that. And he said, we'll call him and we'll get everything together and we'll talk later on, right? So that was it. So I called Steven up, was a couple of days later, I guess when they called him, 3-4 days later. And I talked to Steven. I said, Steve, what would they say? He said they was talking stuff, but they wasn't talking about him fighting Boots, you know what I mean? Like that. I said, but that's what they supposed to be talking about. He said, we're gonna talk about it and we're gonna discuss what we're gonna do with with Terrence and Boots. That's what, what I mean. I said, well, if you want to fight, just let me know. That's just what Steven said. Right? And they said, well, we'll call you later on. Never called him back. That's what happened. So they trying to say that we never turned the fight. I talked to Terrence last night. We never turned the fight down. We've been wanting to fight Terrence way back. So you already know that.
Yeah, was Terrence under the impression that you turned down the fight?
Yeah, that's what he said. That's what he said. But I don't know who he was talking to with that, about that. You know what I mean? But we never turned down a fight. I said, now listen to this. This is what I told Terrence last night. You could have fought us, but you're going to fight Avenesia. And then I said, Avenesia, you could have fought us. And then Terrence said, well, Boots could have been...
Couple things to address there. So you see how he called David Avenesian and all this stuff. You could have fought us. And he talking to Terrence Bud Crawford on the phone and saying everything, but let's make this fight happen, right? It's always some you ducked us type stuff. Where have we heard this before? We heard it with Brian Norman Sr. and Boots Ennis. Why is it everybody is negotiating with Boots is always ducking Boots? Why is it? Terrence Bud Crawford just went up to 68 and got a fight that nobody was calling for. Nobody was calling for. That man went up there and dismantled Canelo Alvarez. You want me to believe that a man that went up 3 weight classes, not 2, 3, went up there and fought the guy with all the belts, that was supposed to be the power and all this stuff that he's supposed to have, but he was scared of Boots. Bro, come on, Boots. Come on, Boots. Not only is it funny that you call him David Avenesian and then that would be a future opponent of y'all's, but it's funny to me that y'all saying everything but let's fight. Y'all saying everything but let's fight. Let's get through some more of this.
Number 1 in the WBO. I said Boots wasn't number 1 in the WBO. What's my man name? Virgil. He was number 1 and just somebody else. And Boots is number 3, I think, in that organization.
Number 2 and number 3. Yeah,
right. You're number 2 and number 3. So we was number 1 in Spence organization, the IBF. That's who he's going after. That's why, you know what I mean? But all you had to do was call us. We would have took that fight. You didn't have to fight Avenesian.
What was Avenesian ranked in the WBO?
Way behind us. You know what I mean? So if you really wanted to fight us, you could have fought us. That's what I said.
Yeah, I didn't understand why people just ran with the notion that you didn't want to fight when you've expressed that you wanted this fight for years.
But you've been on it. You've been on it. Everybody else been on it. We've been calling guys out. You said we take the fight. You know what I mean? You know?
So for anybody watching, did you turn down the BLK the BLK fight with Terrence Crawford?
No, but everybody know me. They know I didn't turn down nothing but my collar.
Appreciate you, Mr.
He didn't turn down nothing but his collar, but he on the phone with Boots. With us. Bud not making the fight. Now, a couple things I want to address. Right here, right? So, like I said, they always say different things. Bozy and him always saying 2 different things, right?
It's the amateur.
Now, this is what I want y'all to know. Bozy ended up moving Boots out of the sanctioning body to force the mandatory with Bud. And everybody said, oh, he ducking Bud. And yes, they were ducking Bud, but they were really strategic about how they were going about ducking Bud. They went to the IBF because the IBF, you can force mandatories because they want you to fight your mandatory. If you petition right after the fight, they will strip you 2 to 3 months, 6 months, whatever the case may be, if you do not fight the mandatory. And they knew that. So they went to the IBF belt that Spence was holding. They never had any intentions on fighting Spence. You just heard Boots say we was all waiting for them 2 to fight at 47. He just said it. You don't need, this is not an opinion. This is a fact, right? He just said it, right? Everybody know that there was a rematch clause involved. They waited to the rematch clause and then forced the mandatory and then made it seem like, everybody is ducking them. Like they playing games, man. And like I said, if you don't want to accept facts with that happening, we just seen again at 47, that man got the belt, got emailed the belt, fought Karen and Avenesian and Stanionis, and then didn't fight anybody. No, he didn't even fight Avenesian. He fought Avenesian after that, but I don't think it was for a title. He fought he fought Karen in the rematch, Avenesian, and then he fought Stanionis and then left the division. Never even fight Brian Norman Jr. and claimed that he wants to fight the best. But check this out. This is their explanation for going the IBF route.
It's more political than the pros.
It can't be. They have now, I think the pros is worse now. You know what I mean? You see how they doing Boots now? Yeah. When it should have been for the title. The world title. Now they put up the interim title. That's the world title, but he should have fought for the world title.
Now, Mr. Boots, you got You got Terrence Crawford fans that saying, why didn't he go the WBO route as opposed to the IBF?
Yeah. He could fight Boots. And that's what everybody said. You know what I mean? He could fight Boots. Why he won't fight Boots?
Well,
that's what they pushing now. They trying to push.
Yeah. Why did the IBF route make more sense than the WBO route?
With us?
Yeah. It's because you were ranked number 1?
Oh, we was ranked. We beat everybody and we got ranked.
Let's go back. Look at that face. With us? With us? What you say?
We beat everybody and we got ranked. Yeah, that's what we got in that position. So
route.
With us?
Yeah. It's because you were ranked number 1?
Oh, we was ranked. We beat everybody and we got ranked. Yeah, that's what we got in that position. So we was not number 1 in that position. So quite naturally, we're gonna take the IBF. We're gonna fight for the IBF. Same if we was number 1 in WBC or BO or either one of them do. He was ranked number 2 in the rest of them joints.
Yeah,
and you see what happened.
Virgil's still number 1 because the Stanionis fight got pushed back.
Yeah.
So technically, he's not a world champion, which is the
exactly.
Boots is right now.
Boots is world champion now.
Didn't he turn down Crawford?
Yeah, he turned down Crawford. Yeah. We never turned down nothing but our collar. You know what I mean? That's all we turned down. We wanted that.
You heard what they said. Did he turn down Crawford? Yeah, nobody wanted to fight Bud, bro. Bro, this is somebody who picked Canelo, bro. I keep it real over here, bro. They do not want to fight Bud, bro. They lucky that Bud signed with Top Rank early in his career, man, because had he not, and he had been a free agent like what he is now, and Turkey would have been in the box earlier, a lot of people would have been exposed like this situation. So you got to do some deep diving to find out that Bozy and them chose the IBF route because they did not want to fight Terrence Bud Crawford. It wasn't that they wanted Errol Spence as an easier fight. They were trying to position themselves in the IBF because they know what the IBF do.
Everybody.
Now, I'm not sure, but can't you make a unification with an interim? Does that?
That's something I don't know. I couldn't tell you that. I don't know about that. You know what I mean? But you notice something, once you win that title, you see what they do. They take you up the rate.
Yeah.
The rankings. They take you up the rankings.
So is this just a matter of time before he's like the IBF champion full?
All depends on what Spence is going to do. You know what I mean? They say Spence move it up and to fight, what's the name? Thurman.
Yeah.
And he got 60 days when he moved back down to fight Crawford.
Yeah.
And then after that, if you don't do that, you know what I mean? The title's up for grabs. What that means is.
Did you hear that? He telling you in the interview where he addressed the IBF and why they chose the route. Oh, we were number 1. No. He telling you, listen. The devil's in the detail. Listen to him. He telling you.
Yeah.
And then after that, if you don't do that, you know what I mean? The titles, you know what I mean? They say Spence move it up and to fight, what's the name? Thurman.
Yeah.
And he got 60 days when he moved back down to fight Crawford.
Yeah.
And then after that, if you don't do that, you know what I mean? The title's up for grabs. What that means that Boots might just give Boots the IBF title. You never know. You know what I mean?
Anybody I've ever seen with
They might just give Boots the IBF title. I mean, you never know. That's no. I know. I don't know about everybody else. I know why you chose the IBF route. For that very reason. You wanted Bud to get stripped. You wanted Bud to get stripped. It's just as simple as that. It's no doubt about it.
You're supposed to fight.
No doubt about it. You wanted that's what you wanted. So let me show you this real quick too. This is Bozy talking about petitioning the IBF and giving them a notice.
Hasn't for a mandatory in 4 years since Carlos Unpacking.
Remember my boy from Kazakhstan. He was supposed to fight
Abdul Kakarov.
Was supposed to fight
Cody Crowley. Yeah, Cody Crowley beats him.
Now Cody Crowley beat him. But look what they did with Cody Crowley. Probably moving somewhere else. He should have been taking his place. If anything, you're gonna beat the number 1 guy for the eliminations. At least the top 5 takes elimination.
Are you expecting the IBF to order Boots Ennis versus Errol Spence now?
We sent a petition to Norway.
I mean,
I sent one in.
You would expect it, but now I know what it's going to be. Now you're going to go by. All right, why do I gotta fight Boots Ennis? Or why do I gotta fight somebody in the top 5 when you got Terrence Crawford? Go and find somebody that's fighting in the top 10.
Exactly.
So now that's what it's gonna be. Yep. You know what I mean? And everybody gonna look at it like, I mean,
if he can do it, I can do it.
And that's what it's about, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's about how y'all dudes go from y'all got four hungry guys. You know what I mean? That's right there. You know what I mean? That everybody will want to see. Both of y'all fans, Terrence Crawford fans. and Errol Spence fans would love to see these guys.
You got Stanionis.
You got Stanionis.
You got motherfucking Thurman. You got Boots. And you got Ortiz. You know what I mean? You got them the four right there. Wait in line.
Fours right there. If y'all ain't gonna fight, you know what I mean?
Give it up.
What they need to do, you know what I mean? They need to just go ahead and have a tournament. You know what I mean? Like with the 6 Jones.
Like with Ward.
They need to have one of them tournaments. They got it right there. That's 6 right there. Yep. You know what I mean? That's 6 right there, including Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence. They need to go ahead and just let them go ahead and let them.
But that's too much like being right, though.
You know what I mean?
So you expect me to believe that you guys will enter a tournament and fight everybody who they want y'all to fight when y'all just moved up to 54 and went to Turkey out of Sheet to ask for tune-up? That what y'all expect? That what y'all expect me to believe? Like, come on, man. Come on, man. Hold on, we not done. I'm gonna finish cooking. I'm gonna drop the link. Hold on. We gotta get through this. Hold on. Here we go. Some more IBF talk from Boots Ennis.
It has to happen quick.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Speaking of that situation, Earl Spence just got into another car accident, so it looks like he's pushing his return date back.
Way back in February, April or something. Yeah,
May or June.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
Well, ain't nothing really I can say about that. You know what I mean? But they should do something about that, though. You know what I mean? Since he in another accident, they should at least talk to us about that situation. You know what I mean? And see what we feel about that situation. Should he give the title up and just wait to fight Spence? Or wait to fight Crawford or what? So I don't know what they gonna do with that.
Yeah, he has a lot of mandatories. I guess three are due.
Yeah,
and everybody wants their shot.
Yeah.
Could we just see a situation where he might just drop all the belts and just go ahead with the fight with Crawford?
Yeah,
to call it a
it's possible, and he still be undisputed though.
In everybody's mind.
Yeah, everybody in his mind, he still be undisputed if he do drop the title. You know what I mean? Yeah, because we know he's one of the best. He got 3 titles, man. You know what I mean? So even if he dropped the titles and fighting for the WBO, hey, undisputed.
Does that fight need belts, or is it big enough to?
So the mere fact that Bozy is even entertaining the idea of being a mandatory for one of Spence's belts, but getting the belt without actually fighting Spence and allowing Spence to go fight Bud shows me that they never had any intention on fighting neither fighter. They did not want to fight either one of these fighters. They were only playing games. They wanted to see, what was going to happen with the result of those two. They knew that both of those guys were getting older and aging out of the division, and, they couldn't make the weight anymore. They knew all of these things. They wanted them to eliminate each other so that they could be the new king of the hill. And that's what they did. Like the mere fact that Errol Spence got into a car wreck while they were waiting for negotiations with Bud and Spence, and then he said the IBF should have talked to me. Well, why you just don't position? And then he entertained the idea of petitioning to take the belt, and then them still fighting for undisputed, even though his son has a belt. You can't make this up. You cannot make this up. Boots didn't want any parts of Errol Spence or Bud, and still don't. This is why he went to Canelo's camp, to help Canelo get ready for Bud, because he wants Bud's belt at 54. Boots has a history of playing games to get belts without really earning them. And that's what he did at 47. And then he got the belt and didn't even become undisputed. Waited for Virgil to leave the division. Then the best fighter at the division, Brian Norman Jr., played games with them, so that fight never happened. Boots, a running joke over here is we call Boots Crocs Ennis, right? Crocs Ennis doesn't want to fight anybody. He wants to look like the man without actually being the man. He wants to look like the man without actually being the man. And like Bud was saying, him and his dad is always saying 2 different things, right? Check this out. This is Boots. Talking about petitioning the IBF and the belts and stuff like that. Here we go. This is Boots speaking about the business.
That's what the way in the road is.
Okay. So now undisputed is off the table.
Yeah.
For this year, Earl Spence is without an opponent. Your father just put in a petition for you to become for them to order the mandatory, which is you, for Earl Spence's IBF belt.
Yep.
What's your thoughts?
We need it, we want it, and we're gonna take it. You know, that IBF belt coming home soon. You know, whether they like it or not.
Now it's either I think you or
he told you. He told you the IBF belt is coming home soon. He just didn't say I'm not fighting for it.
Or a man is standing on this.
Yep.
Or he possibly said he can move up.
Mm-hmm.
Does it matter that you get Earl Spence, or you just like I just want my shot?
It don't matter who it is. I mean, I would love to fight Earl Spence. You know, he's a great name, great fighter. So who don't want to be great against you know, a fighter like that and take his belt and you know, and show the world like he really the real deal. So that's what I want to do. You know, take the belt from me. But if he keep the belt and I gotta fight somebody else, it don't really matter. I just want my
bro. Freudian slip right there. I would fight him. You know, I would like to do that. But if I get the belt any other way, then I just have to be happy with that. Because who wouldn't want to go fight a dangerous opponent and potentially get beat up? You know, when I could just be gifted the belt that he has. Who wouldn't want that, right?
Keep the belt and I gotta fight somebody else. It don't really matter. I just want my shot and want to get that world title so I can collect all the belts and then go up to 54.
Are you tired of hearing the low risk, high reward thing when associated with your name?
I mean, it ain't no low risk, high reward. I feel like they using that as an excuse. You know, the money is there, everything is there. I feel like they're using that low risk, high reward for excuse. You know.
What can we expect from the next round in this performance?
My next performance, you're going to expect me doing my thing, you know, as always. You know, the things I've been working on a lot of defense, you know, sharpening up, you know, and they're going to see something, you know, when the time comes. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all going to see something. But see, he worrying about sharpening his skills to show y'all how cold he is. How cold he is against nobodies. Against nobodies. It's just crazy to me. Like I said, man, I can't. You can't make this up. This man ain't fought nobody, and everybody was telling us this was going to be the next Roy Jones. But let me show you this. This right here lets me know everything I said was confirmed and true. Two videos I'm gonna show you. It's gonna be case closed, and I'm gonna go ahead and drop the link because I you know Crocs is gonna be cooked at this point. So here we go. It's Jerron Crocs in this. Here we go. Boom. So it's Bozy right here. Check this out.
Jerron Ennis, now the IBF interim. He's awaiting his
mandatory.
Yeah, he's awaiting his mandatory against Terrence Crawford.
Right.
Is there like a process that you have to do, or like how does that work?
Well, we just gotta keep on putting the petition in because they, you know, they don't know the rules. You know what I mean? Because you know they made the rules, so they just gotta abide by them rules that they have up.
Now you already petitioned after
we did.
Earl Spence.
Remember I did it before.
Yeah.
After Earl Spence. Now we did it again. So we just waiting on Dow to put it out. You know what I mean? And I would rather fight for the belt, but if they give us the belt, you know what I mean? That's what he's supposed to do, give us the belt. But I would rather fight.
They're supposed to give us the belt. I told you, bro. Listen, man. I do this. He's telling you out of his mouth. They petitioned for the belt before, waited for the fight to happen, then petitioned again. They supposed to just give us the belts. That's what they supposed to really do. Just give us the belts without fighting Terrence Bud Crawford. Let's rewind that again. Let's go back. Let's go back. In case y'all missed it.
Give us the belt. You know what I mean? That's what he's supposed to do. Give us the belt. But I would rather fight for the belt. You know what I mean? It doesn't make no difference though. Once we get the belt, we defend it.
Now, seems like 147 is clearing out, and some of the names that were once there aren't there anymore. Do you just like work your way down the list? Like, Bud and Spence, they're going to leave, and Virgil is leaving. What are our next best fights?
Right. What?
You see that? Virgil left, waiting for the two top dogs in the division to eliminate each other. They play chess.
Whoever in the top five, we just.
The top five, B. Norman Jr. will become in the top five, and they wouldn't make that fight either.
Going to do, you know what I mean? And then whoever got the titles, that's what we're going to do.
B. Norman Jr. also had a title.
We're going to collect the titles. And after the titles, we're going to move. We're going to move on up. we're gonna move up. You know what I mean?
After they get the titles, they're gonna move on up. Only problem is y'all moved on up without the titles. What happened? What happened to that? Why did that age the way it aged? Why did that age like milk? So one more video I'm gonna show y'all. Then I'm gonna go ahead and drop the link. Hold on. I think it's this one right here. Hold on.
He had the belt for about 2 months
because we wanted to fight for them.
Okay, this is them talking about getting the belts.
The title. We didn't want, there had to be handed the title, but we didn't want the title to get away from us either, though, because we've been trying to fight for that title for 2 years. You know what I mean? When Spence had it, because he was undisputed.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so he didn't take the fight with Boots. So him and Crawford fought. So we figured that Crawford was going to fight us because he made a statement to Spence that he always defended his mandatories. And so Boots was his mandatory. But we didn't ever get a chance to fight him. So, you know what I mean? But it would have been much better if we had fought for it.
Do you feel like maybe that it was maybe a premature strip, just for the fact that he had the belt for about 2 months? I mean, it hadn't been.
Thank you for asking it. See, this is Fight Hype. Fight Hub. Fight Hub gonna ask, do real journalism. This ain't Philly media, home of Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground where I spend most of my day. They gonna ask you some serious questions, And Bud Crawford was stripped 2 months after the L. Spence fight, and then he even told him like, "Well, I'm locked into this rematch. You're gonna have to wait to the rematch." They didn't want to wait, and you heard him say, "Well, they supposed to give us the belt. We supposed to get the belt."
That long, since the actual title fight, maybe a couple more months after that.
Right.
Maybe 2 months is a little short, but realistically, less than 5-6 months. He didn't really get a chance to turn around. Plus, with the obligation of Spence, do you think they was premature and all?
No, I mean, not really, because we remember we was at the belt for a long time, 2 years. You know what I mean? When they sure had more sympathy for us than him. We've been chasing the belt for 2 years now.
Did y'all hear that? That man said, "Don't feel bad for the guy that was stripped after 5 years of waiting for the fight that everybody wanted to see, and finally making it happen, and then stripped 2 months after making the fight happen because a rematch clause. Don't feel bad for him. Feel bad for us, the people who positioned themselves in the IBF rankings to petition and steal the belt because we knew that they would be locked up in the rematch."
You know what I mean? But I understand where Crawford's coming from. I guess, he don't want to take the fight with Boots because a high risk, low reward. You know what I mean? And then I think he's trying to get some bigger fights. And then I think he's going off and just want to be a trainer or just.
Boy, that aged like milk. Not only would Terrence Crawford go on and fight the undisputed champion at 68, you know what I mean? But Boots would never get any of the belts at 68. He just would go ahead and your son should go be a trainer. Yes, you talk about what Terrence Bud Crawford. Your son should lead a sport and go be a trainer. That's crazy. That is insane. Hold on, I think this. Hold on, it's one more video I want to show y'all before I drop the link. What's good, Angie? Here we go.
It's activated his rematch clause.
Here we go. This right here, if you don't believe nothing else I say, this right here is to show you proof. Boots didn't want no part, so.
It's activated his rematch clause. So I guess it's supposed to happen later on this year.
December. Somebody said in December.
Yeah. So it might be at 154 pounds.
Yes.
Does that fight look any different?
I think it's going to be different. I think it's going to be different. Only reason why I said that, if it was the weight problem, I think it'd be different. But it was the medical problem that he had something wrong with. That's enough time. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, all right, so I think the loser activates and the winner gets to choose the weight.
Right.
What happens if Crawford still chooses 147 pounds? Do we see like another repeat?
If you do, it's not going to go right. You know what I mean by that? He got, like I said, he still got to get that title up. We can't let that happen. I mean, y'all can fight for the other belts, but you ain't fight for that title, the IBF title.
You heard it. There you go. One more time. One more time. You know, he talking about the rematch that everybody knew that they were locked into, and he said, "Well, it could happen, but you know, if it do happen, they got to come up off that title, you know, because we've been strategically waiting and positioning ourselves in a position to be the mandatory for that title in case they had a rematch, so that we could steal that belt. You know what I mean? The elephant in the room. So let me drop the link right here. I'm gonna put it on the community tab. Y'all come up and give me your thoughts. If not, I'll just continue to cook by myself. But here we go. I'm gonna put it on the community wall too as well if y'all want to join. Hold on. So like I said, the Freudian slip, that man said exactly what was on his mind. They wanted no parts of Terrence Bud Crawford. All that stuff Boots was talking about, they've been trying to fight him since 2018. Really, in my personal opinion, Boots wasn't on nobody's radar in 2017, 2018. But Bud was on theirs, and they've never wanted any parts of Bud. That's what I get from this. And like I said, they positioned themselves. They were the mandatory for Bud's belt. Instead of trying to force that fight, they elected to go the route of the IBF. The fans was like, "Oh, he ducking Bud. He ducking Buddy." He was, but they thought he was ducking Bud to go to Spence. He didn't want Spence either. He wanted the IBF. The IBF is known for stripping people, whether it be Anthony Joshua, Usyk. The Usyk's the only person they let sit on a mandatory for a long time, and that could have been politically motivated because of the Ukraine war. I don't know. I don't know what the case is. But for the most part, the IBF is known for stripping people. They have a history of stripping people. Don't believe me, like what Deontay just wanted to say, Google it. Google that. IBF will strip people, and they know it. Bozy and his team know it. And they knew that if Spence and Bud made a fight, they would put a rematch clause in there because they would be a fool not to. What if it was a robbery and then, you know, the belts got took? It's for all the marbles. Why wouldn't you put a rematch clause in it? That's kind of standard today, which I'm kind of surprised Canelo didn't put a rematch clause. But rematch clauses are kind of standard today, especially in big fights, especially when it's like other side of the street type talk. And they knew it would be a rematch clause. So what they did is position themselves, waited for the outcome of the fight. They even were mad that Errol Spence got into another car crash, you know, leading up to the fight, and got voiced their frustrations. But it's like, why voice your frustration? Just go fight them. You don't have to wait if you go fight. You know, they voiced their frustrations, waited for the fight to happen, knew there would be a rematch clause, knew that Terrence Bud Crawford would get stripped after 2 months of having a belt. Insane. And then locked up in a contract for a rematch. They positioned themselves. Then Boots would later on go to help Canelo get ready for Bud. It's obvious to me this dude doesn't want anything to do with Terrence Bud Crawford. He's ducking him. He don't want the smoke, you know. He don't want the smoke. He don't want to get his boots smoked. You know, Boots Ennis does not want to get his boots smoked. And we gotta move on from these narratives, man. Boots don't want no parts of him. Boots was talking about a 60-40 fight. Then he said 50-50 fight. He went to go help Canelo. He was smiling. He knew that it was a win-win situation if he helped Canelo, right? If he helps Canelo, Canelo can eliminate one of the people that everybody wants to see him fight. You know, he can eliminate that guy. Then he can go petition for his belt at 54. You know what I mean? He can go petition and try to fight for a vacant title of Bud at 54. He knew that. And then he could tell everybody, well, you know, the guy that just beat Terrence Bud Crawford, you know, I was beating him up in sparring. And he's a bigger guy. He at 68. I was beating that guy up. So all this talk about me fighting about fighting Bud really don't want this smoke. You see what I did to the guy that beat him? It was a win-win all the way around for Boots if Canelo came out on top. So that's why he went to go help him. But like I said at the beginning of this video, Terrence Bud Crawford beat a lot of things that day. He beat the machine. He beat the media. He beat Bob Arum, believe it or not. Remember Bob Arum said he had trouble promoting him and that he's not a sale, he don't got a personality, all that stuff. He went and got the money and he got the fight and won the fight and made history. He beat history. He beat a lot of things. He beat old age. He's 38 years old. That man went up, shoulder surgery, all of that. He went up against the odds and beat everything. Stage was set like Muhammad Ali said. He went and beat all of that, right? And the one victory everybody didn't witness was that he beat Boots. This ghost of Boots Ennis, he went and beat it. He put the final nail in it. Them guys do not want to fight anybody. They want to look like the boogeyman. They don't want to actually be the boogeyman, and he exposed that to it, in my opinion. Like I said, here go Bozy again.
It's not gonna go right. You know what I mean by that? He got, like I said, he still got to get that title up. We can't let that happen. I mean, y'all can fight for the other belts, but you ain't fight for that title, the IBF title. Because we've been in mandatories for a long time, now.
Yeah, it's been over a year.
Yeah, and something. Yeah. Yep.
Like I said, the man didn't want no parts of him. He didn't want no parts of him, man. He feared Bud. And you can't blame him. You can't blame him. You can't blame him for fearing Bud, because if you're not built of something that's really, really tough, or a bigger guy like Canelo, you might get dismantled like Spence did, And we all seen what happened with when Spence finally got in the ring with him and worked up enough nerve, and everybody said Bud was gonna get broken. He ended up breaking Spence. So he said older champions as female. He said Mayweather is a rule abusing B. He said using the rules of boxing to win fights without actually fighting too much to me. So I put a poll up to everybody that's voting, and I asked who's better all time, Floyd Mayweather or Terrence Bud Crawford. And the reason why I put that up there is because I did a video and I talked about Terrence Bud Crawford being better, because Mayweather always gives his fans talking points saying, I done beat the most world champions out of any champion that's alive, and I'm the best ever and all this old stuff, and they end up with those talking points. But Terrence Bud Crawford last 20 fights have been all world champions while they were world champions. Floyd fought former world champions. His last 20 fights, and the 20th fight was a guy at 68 with all the belts that everybody thought he was going to lose to a younger guy. Like he had everything going against him. He conceded on every single thing, and people still argue that Floyd Mayweather's resume is better than Bud. That is absolutely insane. If that's the case, why did Canelo come out and say Terrence Bud Crawford is better than Floyd Mayweather? Said the Floyd hate is wild in this room. Now I think the Floyd nut hugging is wild amongst y'all, because Floyd Mayweather towards the end of his career, especially towards 38 years old, you think Floyd Mayweather at 38 years old would have went up and fought Triple G in weight? You think he would have did that? Absolutely not. What are we talking about, bro? Floyd Mayweather resume don't compare to Bud, especially now fighting Canelo at 68, not pulling Canelo down to the 52, So if he fought him at 68, Canelo probably weighed in. I don't even know what his weight in the fight night. He probably weighed in at 170 something, Probably was still bigger than Bud on the night of the fight. And Bud went in there and did what he had to do, because Bud is Bud, and his resume is better than Floyd's. Listen, one of the things that came good from this is that Terrence Bud Crawford is undefeated, but he didn't pick and choose toward the end of his career, towards the twilight. Discipline wise, he don't gotta people. Oh, Floyd, he be at the strip club at 6 a.m, then he leave the strip club and go to the gym. Bud don't be at the strip club, so we ain't got to worry about that with him. So he just as disciplined. He ain't got no scandals. Going to jail for beating up no females or any of that stuff. Bud's a great role model for people, and I'm glad that we could move on from the Mayweather era. Because what the Mayweather era has did for boxing is cursed it. It's cursed it. You got Floyd Mayweather out there, saying, you got two versions of Floyd Mayweather. You got Pretty Boy Floyd, and you got Money Mayweather. Well, you got one version of Bud, and that's the belt buckle Bud. Belt buckle Bud put belt buckle on anybody, any and everybody, to the point where everybody dodging them, including the young guys. You a bad MFer when the younger guys coming up in the division do not want to fight you. Keith Thurman wanted to fight Floyd Mayweather. You remember that? Keith Thurman was calling out Mayweather's name. Mayweather did not want to fight him, gave up the belt so he didn't have to fight Keith Thurman. Terrence Bud Crawford is being avoided by the guys coming up like a Boots Ennis, to the point where Boots don't want no parts of him. He trying to play all kind of political games to do everything but fight Terrence Bud Crawford, bro. It's a different. I don't care. Listen, I'm not gonna let y'all write history because y'all gonna write it wrong. I mean, y'all gonna write the history wrong, you know. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give perspective, you know. And Terrence Bud Crawford resume is better than Floyd's. Sorry, Floyd ain't got one time undisputed. This man's 3 times undisputed. And then here's the crazy part about it. Terrence Bud Crawford is such a great champion. You know, I always say this, you know, and if y'all hear this anywhere else, tell them, let them know where they got it from. You know, boxing is the only sport where you get out of the ring, your eyes swollen, you might even have swollen tonsils. I don't know, no diddy. You know, but you just get in the ring. You're never the same getting out the ring that you are getting in the ring. But it's the only sport that they ask you what you gonna do next while you're damaged, right? It's like when Tom Brady didn't win the Super Bowl, and now what's next, champ? What are you gonna do in the offseason? They don't say any of that, right? They let them enjoy their victory. They have parades. They do all of this stuff, right? But boxing, your eyeball hanging out your socket. They like, so champ, who you fight next, champ? You know, it's the only sport that does that. Terrence Bud Crawford is so great that they're talking about him fighting David Benavidez. Listen, like I said, you wanted to make resume, you'll probably sound silly doing it. You know, you'll end up being in your emotions trying to do it when you're debating for Floyd. But there isn't one version of Floyd Mayweather, Pretty Boy Floyd or Money Mayweather, that they thought should go up and fight a light heavyweight. I'm gonna say it again. There isn't one version of Floyd Mayweather that they thought should go up and fight any light heavyweight, whether it be I think at the time Floyd was a champion, it was Adonis Stevenson and Kovalev. Nobody even entertained the idea of those fights. The only fight that they thought Floyd should fight that was a bigger guy was Triple G. And you know what Floyd came out and said? He said, Triple G is straight up and down, no special effects. He said that, but never fought Triple G. He never went in there and fought Triple G. So with that being said, listen, Terrence Bud Crawford ranks higher than Floyd Mayweather all the time. I don't care what you believe. You want to argue resume, you want to argue perspective of where they are, age, all that stuff. He don't stack up to him. He just don't. You know, Floyd Mayweather was talking about at Bud's age was talking about fighting Kareem Mayfield and Andre Berto. Those were his final. That was his final fight. Then he made an excuse why he didn't stop Andre Berto, who was well past his prime and even beat up in his prime by Guerrera. Right? He made an argument that he would have stopped him, but he hurt his hand in that fight. Terrence Bud Crawford was wobbling Canelo in the fight, and taking his best punches. And this is a different version of Canelo. This is the version of Canelo that always wants to redeem himself by fighting Floyd Mayweather. This is how you know Terrence Bud Crawford is a different beast. I said this a long time ago, right? You go look at all the people, the professional fighters who have sparred Terrence Bud Crawford, and you look at their faces. You look at their faces before and after the sparring. They would always have frowns after getting in the ring with Terrence Bud. Bro, I bullshit you not. Y'all go look this up. Look this up, man. I bullshit you not. They would always have frowns after facing Terrence Bud Crawford, right? Because he's a different guy. Timothy Bradley talked about the sparring with Terrence Bud Crawford on numerous occasions, and he talked about how Bud was a beast and Bud was that guy. How much proof do y'all need, man? This guy is that guy, bro. And there's nothing y'all can do about it. Let that man be who he is. Let that man be who he is. Said if Floyd thinks he will lose, he will refuse to fight for as long as possible. And nobody could ever say that about Terrence Bud Crawford. That he refused to fight, that he ducked any smoke, that nobody could say anything negative about Terrence Bud Crawford. Terrence Bud Crawford put on such a dominant performance that they're saying that he should go fight the one guy who Canelo refused to fight. Oh my God, you can't make this up. The one guy who everybody wanted to see Canelo fight, even Mexican fans wanted to see it for Mexican pride and all this stuff that they were saying was on the line, right? That guy, he never went to go fight him. he never he never jumped in the ring to go fight that guy. And y'all want Terrence Bud Crawford to go do it. That is insane. I see the dude, on his live say, I didn't know anything about boxing because I'm trying to protect Bud by him not fighting David Benavidez. First off, David Benavidez is at 175. That's first things first, right? So why would he go fight somebody who ain't at 68? That Canelo that moved up because he said he couldn't get the Canelo fight. So he couldn't get the Canelo fight, but Bud's supposed to fight him. Like Turkey couldn't make the fight between David Benavidez and Canelo, but all of a sudden he could make the fight with Bud and him. Like, so that's what I mean by Bud going up against the machine, man. That's absolutely insane. That's too much weight. But it just show you what people think about Terrence Bud Crawford. The haters too. The people that don't like Terrence Bud Crawford. The fact that they think, and then listen, if he go up and beat up or David Benavidez come down to 68, they're gonna say he was drained if Bud beat him. If Bud go in there and put the beats up, he already knocked out his brother, right? If Bud go in there and beat him up, they're gonna make an excuse and say, well, what would he do against Anthony Joshua? It just don't stop. It doesn't stop for people who don't like you. They want to see you lose, and they're gonna find the biggest threat out there who they think you will lose against. And right now they think it's David Benavidez. But like I say, that shows the level of Terrence Bud Crawford skill, in my opinion. Said the years of the trilogies are over. Said, boxing got hurt bad by Don King crap. Too much money involved. I disagree with Don King hurting anything. It's a great explanation. So I disagree with Don King hurting anything because I feel like Don King does not do anything different than any other person, promoter in boxing. And Don King was trying to monopolize boxing just like all the promoters try to do. And Turkey, who's not even American, came over and is trying to monopolize boxing, and nobody has anything to say about it. They say, always giving us the great fights. One thing you can't say about Don King is that he didn't give us the great fights when we wanted them, when fighters were in their prime. Don King has a reputation for that, putting great cards together where you see big names on one card. So I disagree with that Don King stuff. He said, man, cut the noise. Floyd is like 45 years old. He not fighting Bud. Y'all just want to see Floyd lose. For real, get off the man's meat. Let him collect his exhibition checks. Bud the man right now. Relax. No, nobody's talking. Well, unless you're talking to somebody in the chat. I don't know who you're talking to. First off, you need to stop speaking in all caps. Let me say this. Let me say this. So what I did is I posted the link on my community tab, right? If you want to pull up. So all you have to do is go to my community wall, hit the link, and pull up. And you can say whatever you have to say instead of writing in all caps. From the chat, bro. Like, come on, bro. You chat warrior now? You heavy-handed when it comes to the chat? But no, nobody's talking about Floyd Mayweather fighting Bud now. I don't think I've said that at any point of the day. I'm talking about their careers and how they're going to be remembered. And Floyd Mayweather is on record saying the legacy don't pay bills. Legacy don't pay bills. Bud has never said that. He's always talked about legacy. He's always had a frustration in his career because he can't get the big fights that he wanted when he wanted them. Errol Spence included. Floyd has never been plagued with that. Floyd has never been plagued with people ducking him. If anything, people were jumping to Floyd because they felt like he, that offensively he ain't really gonna hurt them because he got brittle hands. And they wanted the opportunity to try to break his defense and be the first person to give him the L. So people were jumping at the bid to fight Floyd. Ain't nobody jumping at the bid to fight Terrence Bud Crawford. Boots went out there and sparred Canelo at 68, and he can't make 47 no more. He just moved up to 54. Why don't he go up and try to challenge Bud for his titles and become undisputed? He's never been that. He's never been undisputed. Why don't go up to 68 and try to challenge that man for all his titles? Said Pax, Bud the GOAT. Said, I think I think I still take Floyd though, man. There's no problem with that. It's your personal opinion. Said I give Crawford the respect of always moving up and challenging himself though. Said he also never had a fight go to a draw or split decision. What's crazy is this is why I personally want Bud to retire. I just seen a video of Nesta Gibbs. It was short. Nesta Gibbs talking about Terrence Bud Crawford beating Bivol. And I'm like, So you picked Canelo and you said that Floyd Mayweather excuse me, Bud ain't nowhere near close to Floyd Mayweather. And all of a sudden, you can now see him beating Bivol. Come on, bro. Come on, man. Tricks is the kid, bro. Come on, man. You know damn well you don't really believe that. And you know damn well you just want to see Bud move up and take an L to Bivol. You're trying to throw it out there so the fans. I know what you're trying to do, man, but nah, man, that ain't working, bro. Terrence Bud Crawford ain't got nothing to prove to anybody, me, Ness, nobody. He's proven it all in the ring with his fist. And what's remarkable about him retiring now instead of listening to fans who are trying to pump him up to get a loss is Terrence Bud Crawford actually got the power, right, to finish guys and make guys respect them or dominate them so bad that judges can't even rob them, right? Mayweather had brittle hands, so he couldn't do that. So the fights would not be close, but it was hard for him to make his opponent react the way that Bud gets them to react because of his offense, right? So I always say this: if Floyd Mayweather was to come along now, right now, today's times, he couldn't. There's no way he could retire undefeated. There's no way, in my opinion, because I feel like he was a lightweight that was able to fight all the way up to welterweight because of his defensive skills, right? Not his power, his defensive skills. But a lot of those fights went to decision. And he was in Vegas. He almost got robbed against Canelo. Well, he didn't almost get robbed, but one of the judges scored a fight, a draw for Canelo, and he dominated Canelo all the rounds. With that being said, the business of boxing is so corrupt. I don't think Floyd Mayweather could win all of the decisions in Vegas. I don't give a damn if he lives there or not. I don't think he could do it if he was to come around today and do his career all over from scratch. He couldn't do it. So he left the game, undefeated, getting decisions towards the end, right? Getting 12-round decisions toward the end. I don't think he can do it all over again. And I think Bud, got the ability to finish guys and hurt guys and make guys respect them. And, a lot of times his defense is his offense. So he has a rare blend of that. And I don't want to see him continue. I think it's a perfect time to stop. A perfect time to stop. But that's just my opinion. He can do whatever he wants to. He earned the right. But I think he should lead the game undefeated. So, everybody can have this type of conversation and remember Bud for respectfully who he is, and what he was to the game and all these people that ducked him. Manny Pacquiao went on to fight Keith Thurman at an older age. He wasn't jumping at the bid to fight no Bud, and they was both on top rank. Wasn't no other side of the street argument. Not to say Manny Pacquiao ducked him, but he wasn't dying to get in the ring with no Terrence Bud Crawford. Keith Thurman. There was a time where Adrian Broner was in talks to fight Terrence. All these guys, I watched it. I was there. I watched it. I watched all the interviews, all the hypotheticals. Nobody was jumping at the bid to fight no Terrence Bud Crawford. And this is why I knew he would be Spence before they even got into the ring. Said, who cares if he wouldn't have? How many boxers actually moved hella weight classes to fight anybody in general? Not many. Everyone does their own thing. Bud's nice and Floyd's nice. Cut the noise. Yeah, you can hit that link anytime you want to instead of just yelling from the chat. That's crazy work. Said Floyd ruined boxing. I think he did too. Listen, shout out to Terrence Bud Crawford. He's the savior of boxing. Because not only did he release the belts that was being held at 68 hostage, right? But also this whole, I'm scared to take a loss, moving up in weight and losing and all this stuff and all this. Not what the corny term that everybody used was dared to be great. Now he's daring to be great. People were actually might in their career might dare to be great. Move up and fight people that everybody say that they shouldn't fight or didn't have a chance against, instead of trying to protect their and pick and choose and do all this other stuff. Maybe Terrence Bud Crawford has set the tone now, and people gonna try to outdo him. He's raised the bar. He's raised the bar of excellence, so everybody will try to live up to it, because they always do that. The fighter of the generation, everybody mocks, right? If everybody. When Mike Tyson was the best in the game, everybody was doing bob and weave. It didn't matter how tall they was. If they was 6 foot, 7 foot, they was bobbing and weaving, You know what I mean? Even if the style didn't fit them. Mayweather, when he came along, everybody started doing the Mayweather mitt work because they wanted to be like Mayweather. Hopefully, Terrence Bud Crawford has set the bar so high that Michael Jordan status, where people will now start to try to emulate him and go up and fight the best and fight whoever's out there. Hopefully. So look like Bud, but let's not look like Look, I like Bud, but let's not get over ski. Get over your ski. Bro, I'm skip that shit, bro. I don't know what the fuck you talking. So you're talking about boxing. Look at the body of work, which has been great on both sides of the street. I don't even know what the hell you're talking about, bro. I guess that was supposed to be broski. I don't know. Said Bud is also a great example of a black man, family-oriented businessman, good attitude, in and out of the ring, great father, etc. Said Robert Phelps, exactly. And then this person said pointless. And then I know Boxer says scholar. He said just created a sin, belt buckle Bud. Shout out to I know Boxer. Said stop hating. Both are great. Bro, that's another thing y'all gotta do. Y'all younger generation, y'all gotta stop this, bro. When you criticize somebody or give your opinion on them, everything ain't hate. Sometimes you gotta have a critique of a person. Listen, there's this guy out there, right, who loves Umar Johnson, right? He do 3 or 4 videos daily on Umar Johnson. And then when I pull up and I put laughing emoji or something, he takes it really, really serious. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Why do you go so hard for this man? Like, do you have a critique of this man? Or can he do no wrong? Is he the exception? God made everybody with flaws and all this stuff, but he made this guy without that. He's special. Is that what we're witnessing? Or do you have a critique of Floyd Mayweather? Were you there whenever he was actually boxing? Is there a reason why Floyd Mayweather makes a distinction between Money Mayweather and Pretty Boy Floyd? He makes that distinction and tells young fighters, you can't pick and choose to get the paydays until you go through the fire. So he's made the distinction. So when I come and say, okay, if you look at Money Mayweather at this point in his career and you look at Terrence Bud Crawford is still fighting and taking risks like a young man, and Floyd Mayweather ain't. Those are facts, not an opinion. Said they have to fight me before they can be called the GOAT. That's hilarious. Bro, are you a gang member or something? I'm not even, bro. I don't know what. I'm not even gonna read that, bro. I'm not even gonna butcher my brain to try to read that, bro. Are you a gang member, bro? That's crazy. I said, man, Floyd lost to De La Hoya. I don't care what nobody else say. He has lost. He lost that fight. They said Prime Bud 2025, Floyd 2010, Bud wins. But I'd put him everything. I put everything I own on it. I told y'all all my niggas to bet. So I guess you ride it with Bud. What you saying? Said, what do you think about Bud and the SNAP program, bro? SNAC, bro. This man talking about food stamps. That's crazy work, man. That's crazy, man. He said the SNAP. Oh man, you crazy, bro. That man said the SNAP program. How do I feel about it, bro? I've already expressed it. I don't feel like anybody should work with SNAC. I think that SNAC has a reputation in boxing that puts an asterisk by your name, and I don't think anybody should be working with them. I don't think anything that they do is anything extraordinary that anybody else couldn't do. You could buy a hypoxia machine and do it from your house. You don't need Victor Conte to put oxygen in your nostrils and do all this other stuff that you do over there at SNAC. But if they want to work with them, that's on them. But I mean, if people put an asterisk by your name, that they have every right to do that. Stop working with Victor Conte. It is what it is. Every time there's a cheating allegation in the sport, he always pops up to tell everybody what the person did to cheat. So he's still an expert cheater. Like, bro, your allegations was in 2004. How do you know in 2025 the ways to cheat? How do you know all the new ways to cheat if you've given up cheating? But he's on a record talking about he knows how to cheat VADA, but he's also telling everybody to do VADA testing. Why do you want us to do the testing that you know how to cheat? You like Victor Conte is a glory hog. I wouldn't even work with him just for the mere fact of that. He's a glory hog. He's always wanting to be in the news. But I will say this: as much stuff as everybody talking about SNAC, I guarantee you, uh, everybody start working with SNAC now. How much you want to bet? I guarantee you, all the fighters after this fight that Bud was able to move up. He didn't look because SNAC done got it wrong. They did it with Mikey Garcia and Errol Spence, and he looked awful in that fight, right? But this one they got right. People don't focus on your shortcomings, especially when you do something great like what Bud just did. I guarantee you now that every fighter now will have a SNAC logo, on their trunks or whatever the case may be. But a lot of people don't even know this. There's a dude named Mike Basil who's a cut man in a lot of people's corner. And a lot of people don't even wear SNAC on their trunks or whatever the case may be, but he's still in that corner, which I imagine that he's also functioning as a cut man and a strength and conditioning coach as well. So a lot of times people be working with SNAC and nobody even knows it. But I guarantee you now that everybody's for to run over to SNAC. So we'll see, but I guarantee that's what happened. Said, man, listen, if a MFer that confident for months saying, I don't get in there, I'm going to beat you up, said no laughing, no jokes, dead serious, I knew he was going to win. They all do that, though, bro. They all do that before the fight. Tell you how amazing shape they in, how they tussle with an alligator, wrestle with a bell, handcuff, like to throw thunder in jail. They all do the same thing, bro. And then once they lose, they're like, so what happened, champ? You guys don't understand. When I was 3, Mother Teresa, she cursed me. She threw a eraser at the back of my head and knocked me unconscious. And ever since then, they always got this excuse. I had it now later when I was 5. They always got an excuse. They're in the best shape of their life before the fight. No way they could lose, and then after they lose, they got every excuse in the book. So, that wasn't enough to me. Said I guess supposed to be Turkey Al-Sheikh is going to rule boxing because he has the money. We shall see. We shall see. I don't know. The stage is set. I don't think they're going to do good with Dana White. I think Dana White is already failed in boxing once. And I think Turkey Al-Sheikh putting all his money into Dana White, even though Dana White has a good backing in Turkey Al-Sheikh, I think he's going to fail again. I don't think the sport is going to allow Dana White in there. I think because the free market exists, and we have free media, we already surprised them. Sean already surprised them whenever he asked them the question that he asked them, because they wouldn't do that in UFC. So it threw him off track. So I don't think he's going to be able to adjust. To almost a decade, Floyd said he was too old for Crawford. Said Boots thought since Bud was smaller, he could beat him. Said Mayweather is too old to be competitive. Thurman and Pacquiao avoided Crawford. Everyone will appreciate Crawford when he's retired. I don't think they'll do it when he retired, bro. It's some people, bro. It's some people that they just don't like no matter what. And I think Terrence Boyd Crawford is one of those people. I think the reason why they want to see him lose is because they don't want there to be a general consensus of how great that man was. What's really crazy is, listen, shout out to my homie Bruce Vane. I said a long time ago, right? And Bruce Vane was the only one that agreed with this. I made a video probably like 3 or 4 years ago, right? Where I showed Terrence Bud Crawford and I said he remind me of James Toney. When I tell you everybody lost it, bro, like, oh my God, you don't know boxing, change your name, scholar, blah, 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 right? James Toney said Terrence Bud Crawford reminds him of himself, right? And I put that clip out there. That wasn't enough. When James Toney sees Terrence Bud Crawford, he lights up, right? And listen, when I looked at the old school people who were predicted for the fight, who I really respect, they all picked Terrence Bud Crawford, and I know why. For the same reason James Toney lights up when he sees Terrence Bud Crawford. They could see the throwback fighter in Terrence Bud Crawford. They know he's a real fighter. They know he's one of those guys in the gym that can spar heavyweights, and maybe not knock him out, but make him respect him and really can fight. He can really fight. When the X's and O's boil down, he can fight. He can fight, They see that in Terrence Bud Crawford. That's why all of them picked him. I was really shocked. I said, bro, I was like, am I missing something? Like, what is going on? It's never been done. Why are they going against history when the old school people spend so much time trying to preserve history? And that's why. They seen something special in Terrence Bud Crawford. He said, you crazy, huh? Hoyer was putting hands on Floyd. He said, go watch the fight again. He lost that fight. I mean, at the end, you got his daddy. Well, it depends on what you like. If you're going by the point system, Lil Floyd won. I mean, Aka won. You gotta give it a little. Well, he said, I saw the De La Hoya fight 2 times. He didn't win. De La Hoya said it himself. He said, "Gang, I'm a ninja, 100%, and a fan of Floyd through and through, but he lost that fight." I said, "Nope, let me guess. You thought he lost to Castillo too, right?" Said, "Facts." He said, "Then if he beats Bivol, they'll say, oh, he should fight Usyk next." That is an absolute fact, bro. They gonna keep throwing names into him. They gonna be like, well, Usyk is another pound for pound fighter. Let Terrence show us how great you are. It's so crazy that they only have stipulations for him. Nobody else. Only stipulations for him. He's the only person that has to do whatever they say do in order to be great. And then when he does that exact same thing, you know what they're gonna do? Guess what they're gonna do? Move the goalpost. Move the goalpost. Said he ain't doing nothing for his people. Oh, that's crazy. I'm a boxer head, and it's the only combat sport I've been following for 40 years. He said, I have been alive, and I watched that fight 100 times. He lost, gang. Said, I just need Bud to fight one more time for a good person and then slide out the sport. Why fight one more time? You know what's going to happen? He's going to fight one more time, and there's going to be some glory left on the table, right? Like, let's say he go to 60 and he beat Laura and he get a belt. You're going to say, well, you only got 3 more belts, champ. Get them 3 more belts, and then let's go ahead and call it a day. It's just like, there's always going to be an excuse to come back for more. It's never going to be an excuse to leave anything on the table. So, got to leave. Sometimes you got to leave with, you got to leave the poker table while you're up. Said, nah, I ain't say Castillo, but it's 2 fights that Floyd lost for real. Said, what's the second fight? Said, Madonna, the first fight. Oh, you tripping, bro. Said, I agree 100% with that. With what you said, there's nothing left for Bud to prove. 3-time undisputed. That's a fact, bro. Lead the game, Bud. Lead the game, man. Lead the game. What you're going to have right now is a whole bunch of people who got to say they witnessed the greatest fighter that ever lived in his prime, and out of his prime, go fight fighters in their prime, So, said he did not lose the second Maidana, man. Said he got a couple clean shots in, though, but definitely not an overall win for Maidana. You bugging. Said Bud is legendary style bender. It was crazy. I think I see Izzy watching Bud's fight on TV, reacting to it. Said the only reason Floyd won is because when you are the champion, the opponent has to do you real bad, like make him hit the ground. But that's my opinion. He said, y'all know politics when it comes to the judges. Said, Maidana, LOL. Only Castillo was Floyd's closest fight to where it could go either way, and it could be a robbery. He said, Oscar, nope. Maidana, nope. He said, okay, gang. He said, peace and Pan-Africanism, brothers and sisters. It's hilarious. And then he said, Mike, go watch them fights now in slow motion. I promise you, Floyd edged both of them out. And then he said, just subscribe. Great talk and content. Appreciate you, brother. And then Angie said, no. Peace and Pan-African, brothers and sisters. Peace and Pan-African. Said nothing was going to help Mikey beat Spence. And then he said, facts. And he said, that's apparent. We don't need the old heads to say it. He said, Crawford is a fighter, not taking anything away, but I have never seen Floyd win convincingly. Maidana crushed Floyd twice. That's harsh language you use in there. Crush Floyd is crazy work. But yeah, man, all I wanted to say is I had to do this pop-up live. I appreciate everybody for pulling up. I think I'm going to go ahead and end it here, though. This was a great episode. Rock by myself for 2 hours. I think I'm going to go get an sauna, and I'm going to come back. I'm going to get a workout in, and I'm going to come right back. And we'll hash it up, because I think a lot of the people will be more free around the evening, because they're probably at work right now. It's a good Friday, good Friday, good time to have great conversations. I did a poll for boxing and non-boxing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to do 2 boxing lives, and then I'm gonna follow that by a non-boxing live because you know I cover everything over here. This is why my channel is the dopest on YouTube. I understand the science, understand the history, understand life, politics, psychology, all of that stuff. You know, so I'm the Black Joe Rogan. I'm blogging. You know, we talk about everything over here, but I will be back. You know, I will be back following this episode, and we're gonna do a follow-up episode, and I can have my guest on because I love when my guest on because it's iron sharpening iron. I want to hear their opinions on it as well. But yeah, like I said, I appreciate everybody for pulling up. To the people that just pulling up, let me give y'all a little taste about what I do over here. Look, check this out. This is why I have the best channel on YouTube. Check this out right here.
Now you see my other video where Bud attacks his lead hand, right? He jabs to it, gets it out of place, right? And he doesn't stop there, right? He double jabs to it because you know if he pushed that hand out of place, he's going to want to get it back immediately. He's not thinking about anything else but getting it back because he's in a high guard in the defensive position. So he takes his back hand and hits and attacks that same hand, right? Pushes it out of place. Then he takes his right hand and turns it into an uppercut. So he's creating his offense. So what makes Bud Crawford so special? You know what I mean? He's a very special fighter. And then, like I said, he throws a left hook and he pulls the guard down. Right? He pulls the guard down, and then once the guard is down, he wants to put it back up because he feels defenseless, right? And he knows that he's vulnerable, and Bud uses that to pull down and create room for his right uppercut. And this is why Terrence Bud Crawford is so special, because he was down in the fight at this point. And some people said he wouldn't be able to pull this same move off on Canelo, and guess what? He was right. But for the wrong reasons. Let's go through this. So Canelo could see everything that Bud was doing, right? He's eyeing them, looking for an opportunity to counter. Bud takes his left hand and slaps to Canelo's guard, right? Slaps to Canelo's guard and then shoots the right straight through the center of the guard. Canelo tried to catch it, but he was just too slow. Bud is too fast. But he takes that same hand and then catches the hook because he anticipates it coming, right? And Terrence Bud Crawford leaves the hook on him to steer him and run him into this body shot. Canelo knows that the body shot is coming because Bud is pushing his momentum that way, and he accepts the body shot, right? And tries to take advantage of the open. He got this hand cocked and loaded. See his left hand? He got all his weight on his front foot, and then he opens up with the left hook, and Bud just takes his left hand, places it on Canelo's shoulder, knocks him just out of place, and to add the cherry on top, he keeps his head turned to the left. He never turns it back so that that punch doesn't land. He's essentially rolling the shot before it gets there. High level chess. You can't make this up.
And like I said, that fight, I'm going to break down and put on members only. My members only is $5, so you're going to get it. I got videos of Freddie Roach teaching boxing. I got some dope videos on members only, you know, not me just breaking down the sport, but I'm going to get more active on my members only. The video that I have coming up for the people that are already members is I'm going to do a full thorough breakdown of Terrence Bud Crawford versus Canelo, because I've seen people breaking it down and they're awful. I'm sorry. They're awful. You know, like what they say, they're too wordy. Sometimes they get analysis paralysis where they're just trying to look for terms to point out to you. It sucks. It sucks, you know. So I'm going to give you the real breakdown of what happened, how I scored the fight. And I also go back in time and find clips of words of what they're saying. I do my due diligence on my breakdowns. I put a lot of work into what I do. You know, that's what makes me the best. So with that being said, you know, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Like I said, we're going to be back later on the day. So if you're at work, you know what I mean? Just, you know, while I'm out there working out, enjoy your little break, you know, Good Friday, you know, money in an account or whatever the case may be, you know, and we'll be back. Just join the conversation later. You know, the rest of the cast will more than likely be here during the evening live that we do. And like I said, make sure you subscribe. Don't forget to do that. Like this video too as well. Share with other people, because if there's 2 messages to take away from today, is that Jerron Crocs Ennis, we're going to call him Jerron Crocs Ennis until he does something in the sport of boxing, right? We're going to call him Jerron Crocs Ennis until he does something in the sport of boxing. Belt buckle Bud, you know, beats everybody, you know, in the words of Sir Senior. But now, if there's any takeaway today, you know, yeah, we're gonna stay on Boots. We're gonna stay on Boots' case until he actually fights somebody. We're not gonna let him get away without fighting nobody and trying to go into the dark shadow rooms to play politics to where he's gifted belts instead of fighting for them. You know, and that anybody could be a nobody. In the words of Terrence Bud Crawford, anybody could be a nobody.
It means a lot to me because, anybody can be a nobody. Like I said, and that's.
I was boxing with this African guy Friday. What's Friday's full name? Anybody know Friday's full name? Well, everyone, if I mention him in the fight world, knows who he is, the African heavyweight fighter. And I passed.
What's Friday's full name? Anybody know Friday's full name? Anybody could be a nobody. That's the lesson for today. Boots ducks everybody, and anybody could be a nobody. But anyway, with that being said, make sure you subscribe. We'll be back later. Make sure you don't miss that episode. Turn your notification bell on so that you won't miss it. But anyway, Ray J, talk to them, serenade their souls.
Superstar, wish to have a fancy car, wish to have $1 million bucks. Well, I wish I know being in love. So feel me, pretty baby. I make one wish and I wish it all on you. Make it love to the break of dawn. Me and you to the baby's born. Till my baby's born.